What's going on, 49er faithful? You are tuned in to Keeping the Faith. I'm JD. Welcome in to the Faithful Friday edition of the program. We are just a matter of days away from the San Francisco 49ers formally welcoming their 2025 rookie class to Santa Clara to start training camp for the 2025 season, as the 49ers rookies will report to Santa Clara on Tuesday, July 15th, effectively beginning the start of 49ers training camp. Now, the official start is when the vets report to Santa Clara a week later on July 22nd. But for all intents and purposes, training camp's here. Training camp is here. Rookies report in a matter of days. You're going to probably have some veterans coming in early as well. You're going to start seeing all kinds of reports down from Santa Clara. Football is back, and I, for one, could not be any happier. It's just the best time of the year. It's the best time of the year. When football season is here, when training camp starts, man, let's go. I'm pumped up, guys. I don't know about you, but I'm jacked all the way up. I'm ready. And tonight we have an interesting show for you guys. I have a few things that we're going to get into this evening, namely the latest news surrounding 49ers wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk. But I also have some thoughts on the 49ers officially releasing the dates of their training camp practices, including the public practice schedule when fans are allowed to be in attendance down at the 49ers practice facility next to Levi's Stadium. I have some thoughts on that whole situation because I'm a season ticket holder and I've been going to training camp for, 20 years. I've been going to training camp for a long time. And this is the first time where, I'm a little bit angry. I'm a little bit pissed off at the way the 49ers are handling things this year when it comes to fans and attending training camp. So we'll get into that. I'll give you my thoughts on some developments there. And I also have a big announcement that I want to, drop on you guys here. And I'll do that in a moment. So just hang tight. I do have a big announcement relating to the channel that I will give you guys here momentarily. But first, let me say what's up to everybody watching out there in YouTube land. If you're here and you're in the chat, drop your ones, say what's up. I want to see who's here. So if you're watching, don't be shy. Smash your ones. Also, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed. Have your notifications on so you don't miss any content here on the channel. And if you want bonus content, behind the scenes stuff, an awesome 49er fan community to be a part of, and if you also want to be entered in monthly giveaways, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/keepingthefaith. All the details are down below in the ticker and the description box. I implore you guys, check out the Patreon. We've been doing some big things over there. Matter of fact, we just did our recent monthly giveaway, and I gave out a copy of Bill Walsh's book, The Score Takes Care of Itself. We do some things. I recently handed out one of these exclusive Keeping the Faith hats. So we're doing big things over there on the Patreon. And there's going to be tons of behind-the-scenes footage, tons of bonus content this season that you will not get here on YouTube. So if you're into the 49ers, if you want to help support this channel, that's one of the best ways that you can do it while we continue to build the channel back up and eventually get monetization going. But check out the Patreon. Telling you guys right now, it's going to be fun this year over there. And it'll be fun right here on YouTube as well. But I got to make sure that I throw that out there. So let's see who we have in the chat, and we will get the show rolling. I see my guy Fazil in the chat says, "What's up, JD?" Shout out Fazil for always showing love to the channel. Thank you very much, my friend. Always good to see you in the chat. So aside from the rookies reporting to Santa Clara next week, and that's huge news in and of itself. The fact that training camp is so close is just huge news, in and of itself, like I mentioned. But I have a big announcement. And I figured let's go ahead and drop that news now. Beginning this Monday, July 14th, I'm going to be doing consistent live streams Monday through Friday, and I have a time nailed down. So if you're subscribed to this channel, if you have your notifications on, I will be doing daily live streams Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. for the season. That is set in stone. That is the plan. Monday through Friday, 4:30 p.m. for the daily live streams here on Keeping the Faith, where we will break down the latest and greatest with the red and gold. And there's going to be some weekend streams as well, most definitely. But as far as a weekday consistent schedule, it will be Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. right here on this channel. And I would like to dabble in doing a morning show eventually. That's always something I've wanted to do, is a daily morning show. And maybe when the season rolls around, that's something that I will experiment with. My idea there will be a 7 a.m. morning show right here on this channel during the season. But for the foreseeable future, you can assuredly find us here live Monday through Friday, 4:30 p.m., breaking down the news of the day as it pertains to your San Francisco 49ers. And of course, when training camp gets rolling and there's weekend practices and whatnot, I'll be doing some stuff on the weekends as well. But I don't know how consistent that's going to be, because that's going to of course, depend on what's going on with the 49ers themselves. And then, of course, when the season gets here, the games start in the regular season, we'll have more things going on. Things are fluid, but you can rest assured that there will be live streams on this channel Monday through Friday, 4:30 p.m., starting this Monday, July 14th. And I'm hyped up. I can't wait. Oh, I see a few more people tuning into the chat. My guy, Mr. Laid Back. What's up, man? Thank you for tuning in. Fazil says, of course, JD, I got you. Appreciate you, Fazil. So, yeah, keep it locked right here on Keeping the Faith for the latest and greatest with the San Francisco 49ers. And I can't wait. I can't wait, man. I'm hyped up. Absolutely. And big things are coming. That's all I can say. Big things are coming this season for this channel, for this team, for this fan base. And I'm just ready, man. I'm ready for football to be here. More than you guys know. I can't wait for football to be here. I see Dave McPherson in the chat says, how do you call in? Dave, just bear with us. I'm going to be diving into some topics here. And then after that, I will open up the phone lines to you guys, and it'll be just a StreamYard link that I'll post in the chat, and you guys will be able to click the StreamYard link and join. Don't worry, your face will not be on the stream. It'll just be your voice. I have it set up that way. But you're not going to be calling in yet. We're going to be talking about a few topics here with the 49ers, and then I'm going to open it up to you guys, because we're going to be taking calls tonight. I want to hear from you regarding the latest surrounding Brandon Aiyuk. I want to hear from you about your thoughts surrounding 49ers training camp coming up, and any other thoughts that you may have, any hot takes that you might have. That's what this show is here on Keeping the Faith on Fridays. This is Faithful Friday here on Keeping the Faith, where you, the faithful, get the chance to have your voice heard right here live. So let's go ahead and dive into the topic. Let's see. I have a rundown here. Let me check the rundown. Okay. Let's get into the 49ers releasing the official dates for their training camp practices and the dates that the fans can be in attendance. I'm a season ticket holder who has been going to training camp for about 20 years. And back in the day, it was obviously a lot more access, a lot better than it is these days. If I'm being honest with you, you had 2-a-days way back when, social media was really just kind of starting to become a thing. So the team didn't worry about your phones being out or recording stuff or taking video or, photos. Things were a lot less strict back in the day. And I'm talking like Mike Nolan, Mike Singletary days. But ever since ever since the Jim Harbaugh years and forward, things have been getting a little bit more constrained, a little bit more constricted, a little bit more confined when it comes to the fans and training camp down there in Santa Clara. And I'm a season ticket holder at Levi's, and I received my email a couple days ago regarding the open public practice dates, when fans can show up, and also when season ticket holders are allowed to purchase tickets for training camp and when the general public is allowed to purchase tickets for training camp. Now, season ticket holders are allowed to begin purchasing training camp tickets on July 15th, so this Tuesday. The general public is the next day. No problem there. That's fine. But in years past, season ticket holders have been able to buy as many days of training camp practices as they wanted. And this is the first time this year season ticket holders of the San Francisco 49ers are only allowed to purchase one day, one practice in advance of the rest of the training camp tickets going on sale to the general public. And, I'm not trying to sound like I'm an entitled brat or anything like that. But one day, season ticket holders who shell out so much money to this team and dedicate so much time and energy to this team, you're only letting your season ticket holders purchase one day, one practice. People plan vacations around this stuff. People plan, weeks and months in advance for this thing. This is something that fans look forward to. And I understand why they're doing it this way. It's because in years past, recently, fans have been reselling training camp tickets on third party sites and trying to make a profit. And so the Niners are trying to crack down on that. And I don't blame them for that. I understand it. And on some degree, I agree with it and I respect it. But what about people like me and other season ticket holders who pour, tons of money into this team and loved going to training camp? I'll be real with you guys. Training camp is probably like my favorite part of the year. Like aside from, watching the games on Sundays, but I actually like going to training camp more than I like going to the real games at Levi's. That's just me. I like being up close with the players. I like being able to, get autographs and take pictures with the players, things like that. I like being up close to the team that I love. And by only allowing season ticket holders to purchase one day of practice is kind of a joke. And they're allowed to purchase up to 4 tickets for that single practice, but it shouldn't be that way. I understand, like I said, why they're doing it, because there's been tons of tickets being sold on the open market, but that's not going to stop anything, because the next day when the rest of the tickets go on sale to the general public, people are going to do the same thing. They're going to buy up all the tickets, whether you're a season ticket holder or not, and they're going to be resold on the open market. It's not going to change anything. And what it's going to do, in all actuality, is cause even more chaos when it comes to getting your tickets on Ticketmaster for training camp. Typically the last few years, it's been actually really hard to get training camp tickets because there's so many people online trying to get tickets at the same time that the site crashes and then the inventory's gone like that. So I'm really curious to see how this goes. But just as a season ticket holder and a person who loves this team and loves going to training camp and looks forward to training camp every single year, I have some criticisms. I'm not the biggest fan of the way the Niners are doing this stuff. So let me go ahead and I'm gonna pull up something to show you guys. Let's see here. They changed everything on StreamYard, so it looks different. Let's go ahead and I want to show you guys a graphic here. Bear with me. So here is the dates that the 49ers will be hosting public practices. And let's see. No, let's go this one. There we go. So here's the dates that are open to the public. That would begin on July 23rd. And then one cool thing, I'll give the Niners credit for this. July the 24th, which is a Thursday, they're having a season ticket holders only practice. And I'm not trying to like bash on fans that aren't season ticket holders. All I'm saying is that season ticket holders should be taken care of. And to see them doing a season ticket holder only practice on Thursday, July 24th, that's actually pretty cool. I commend the 49ers for that. That goes a big way in having season ticket holders like me feel appreciated. That's awesome. That's cool. I like that. Then you have the other training camp dates, July 25th, July 27th, 28th, 29th, August 4th, 5th, 7th, 11th, and 12th. So with those dates, there's only one weekend day available open to the fans, and that's Sunday, July 27th. There's no other weekend days that are open to the fans. That's a bummer. Like, typically, the weekend dates are the ones that go first, obviously, because that's when most people have time to go down there for practice. But to only have one weekend day throughout the entire open, practice session for the 49ers this year, that sucks. That's not good. That's not, I don't know. I'm not a fan of that, but for whatever reason, that's how they're doing it this year. But one other thing, on Thursday, August 7th, is the 49ers joint practice with the Denver Broncos, who they will face at Levi Stadium 2 days later on August 9th in their preseason opener. And that day is also Dwight Clark Day, where the team honors the legacy of former 49ers legendary wide receiver Dwight Clark. And that's also the day where the Broncos will be practicing down in Santa Clara against the 49ers in the joint session. That's definitely the one I'm trying to get to, and I'm sure the majority of Niner fans are trying to get to who want to go to camp, because that's going to be fun. They're going to be going up against another team. Practice is going to get chippy and feisty. It's, they've already been practicing for some time at that point, so things might get a little heated, but it's going to be fun. And I can't wait to get down to training camp for that day, assuming I can. We will see. But so those are the dates that the 49ers are hosting their public practices. And let me pull up the notice that I got from the Niners. They sent me the email since I'm a season ticket holder, and let me show you what they sent. So here's the note from the 49ers regarding the way they're doing training camp this year. And it says, due to changes in the practice field's configuration, the overall footprint for fans to attend training camp has decreased significantly compared to recent years. These changes were implemented to improve the coaches' and players' training efforts. As a result, access to training camp will be limited to your choice of one date and up to 4 tickets. All dates are subject to availability. So what they're referring to there is the Niners made some changes to their facility, and they created an additional 100-yard football field to have more space, presumably to have more joint practices like they are against the Denver Broncos, and just have more space for the team to train, have the guys spread out and whatnot. Because the way that it's set up down there in Santa Clara, it's actually really small for an NFL team. But this year, they are going to be limiting the amount of fans at each training camp practice. And I actually am a big fan of that, because back in the day, the max capacity was right around 2,000 fans. So there was, a good amount of people there, but it wasn't too many. It wasn't too much. And that was back when they had two-a-days. And you were able to get autographs. You were able to have more of an intimate connection to the team and the players during those days when you had less fans at training camp. Nowadays, the last several years, the Niners have had 4,000 or 5,000 people per practice in a very small area, and it's made things frustrating. It's made things just not very fun down there at training camp. The security is just, they're doing their job, but they're just a little overbearing at times. It's too many people for such a small space. But so I will say, there being less fans down in Santa Clara this year for training camp at each practice is a welcome sight for me. But being that I'm a season ticket holder who only has access to 1 day of practice in advance to the general public, I'm probably only going to be able to go to one practice just because I won't be able to get tickets to the rest of them unless I buy them on the open market. And speaking of buying them, the 49ers charge for training camp tickets. For season ticket holders, it's $10 a piece. For the general public, it's $20 a piece. Now, that's not a lot of money, but a lot of teams, the majority of teams in the NFL, their training camp tickets are free. The 49ers training camp tickets used to be free. And the 49ers like to spin it by saying, oh, it's the cost for training camp tickets goes towards a donation to the 49ers Foundation. What that means is it's just a tax write-off for the 49ers, if I'm being honest with you. So, it's a something that the Niners are a little tone deaf on, the way that they handle training camp and the way that season ticket holders are being treated, the way the fans are being treated when it comes to training camp. So I'm going to do my best to get down there. I'm shooting for August the 7th on Dwight Clark Day and also the joint practice against the Denver Broncos. So if you're down there that day, or if you're going to be down there that day, let me know. I'd be down to meet up with anyone who's going to camp. I'm going to try and get down there at least for that day, if not one more. I love going to camp. So we'll see how things go. But yeah, I just wanted to speak my piece, speak my mind on that training camp situation. Not the biggest fan of the way that the Niners do things down there in Santa Clara, but we'll see how things go this year. I see we had a few more people trickling into the chat. So let me say what's up to everybody. Carolina Panthers guy, CPG, he says, JD, what's good? What's up, CPG? Thanks for tuning in, man. He says, we can't even go to training camp in Carolina this year. Yeah, that's a bummer. That sucks. I feel bad for you and for any fan that can't go to camp with their respective team. Dave McPherson says, absolutely, they should take care of season ticket holders. They should. They absolutely should. Papa J, the woes of a season ticket holder. Papa J again. In all fairness, we just paid Brock Purdy and we just bought another soccer team. What does that have to do with anything? What does that have to do with anything, Papa J? Just because they paid Brock Purdy, George Kittle, Fred Warner, they bought a soccer team, that should have nothing to do with the fact that you charge for training camp tickets when most of the other teams in the league don't charge for training camp tickets. And I don't know. Maybe I'm complaining too much. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's a me thing. I don't know. I think it's a little scummy. I'll be honest with you. I think it's a little dirty. I'm not a fan of that. Papa J says that has absolutely nothing to do with it. Just a little sarcasm. Okay. I got you. We're good. I got you. Okay. Yep. I'm with you. So that was just my thoughts on the release of the training camp dates and how the 49ers are handling that this year. That's not typically something I like to speak on, kind of the fan side of things. I try and talk about the team and the organization more than anything. But as a season ticket holder, as someone who goes down to Levi Stadium for every game, and as someone who has poured, his heart and soul and wallet into this team for a long time, it's just a little disheartening the way that the Niner fans get treated by the organization sometimes. And another part of it, I guess, season ticket holders had access or are getting access to these training camp tickets this coming Tuesday, July 15th. That's the earliest that most season ticket holders have access. However, I know other season ticket holders, and I'm assuming these are the people with the most expensive seat licenses at Levi Stadium, had access to training camp tickets a week ago. So that's a whole nother topic. I mean, yeah, if you're paying for an $80,000 seat license like some people do at Levi Stadium, like, yeah, you should get some perks. I'm not saying you shouldn't. If I was paying that much money, you're damn right. I would be like, hey, we should get first dibs on everything. But it's just, I don't know. It just makes me feel a certain type of way. Like, why can't all season ticket holders be treated fairly? I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna leave it at that. So, Papa J, season ticket holders who makes the 49ers one of the highest paid NFL teams. Exactly. I mean, I know at least last year and the year before, I believe, the 49ers were number one in the NFL in ticket revenue. The Niners tickets are astronomically expensive. They get raised every single year, season ticket holder prices, that is. I had season tickets at Candlestick from 2009 to 2013. When they moved to Levi's in 2014, I was not able to make that transition at that moment, but I did sign up for season tickets again in April of 2019, and I've had season tickets ever since. And every single year, except for 2020 during COVID, the 49ers have raised season ticket prices. So every single year, basically, aside from one, since I've been a season ticket holder again, the 49ers have raised season ticket prices. So that just tells you kind of how things are down there in Santa Clara. And they know that people like me are suckers, and we're going to pay it. And we're going to keep going to training camp. We're going to keep going to games. And it's frustrating. I'll just leave it at that. So let's jump into the main topic of tonight's show. And that is the recent news surrounding 49ers wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk. We all know the story with Aiyuk. Last offseason, contract dispute, finally gets his deal, starts the season slowly. Just as he begins to round into form, he blows out his knee. And this was in October of last year against the Kansas City Chiefs, tore his ACL, MCL, and had other structural damage. And the talk all offseason is, when can the 49ers expect Brandon Aiyuk to return to the field? A lot of people have been saying November, December, like that. It was a really bad injury. It wasn't just a clean ACL tear. So you can't expect Aiyuk back so soon. But all along, the 49ers have been putting the message out there that Aiyuk is ahead of schedule, that Aiyuk is healing very fast and doing very well in his rehab. And that was further corroborated this week by 49ers insider Matt Maiocco, who appeared on KMBR and had some interesting things to say about Brandon Aiyuk and a potential week one return. Let me pull up some of the quotes courtesy of 49ers Web Zone, and we'll go through it together. Okay. Nope, not that one. I'm still learning StreamYards, guys. Bear with me. But Matt Maiocco was on KMBR this week, and he had this to say regarding 49ers wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk. I hear he's doing really well, Maiocco said on Thursday. I hear that the knee is even ahead of schedule. Now, when was the last time you guys heard someone's injury was behind schedule? It's very rare that you hear about setbacks with injuries from football teams, especially around this time of year when they're trying to drum up as much positivity and as much positive momentum as they can going into the season. They want all the goodwill, all the positive vibes, all the good feelings that they can muster heading into the season. That means more ticket sales, more merchandise, yada, yada, yada. So just putting that out there. On the WebZone article, it goes along to say, that aligns with what general manager John Lynch has said throughout the offseason, often noting that elite athletes like Aiyuk tend to recover more quickly than expected. And here's another quote from Maiocco. From what I understand, he's doing really well, Maiocco reiterated. Also, from what I understand, it is not out of the question that he could be ready week one. Look, I'm not buying it. I don't think he'll be ready week one. With the severity of his knee injury, the best course of action is to play it safe. And I think it's very far-fetched that he will be ready week one. And if he's not ready week one, that means the team is going to end up putting him on the physically unable to perform list, or the PUP list, as it is known. And that will mean that Aiyuk will be forced to miss the first 4 games. And that gives him a little bit more time just to make sure that he's right, that he's good to go, and that we're not rushing things. We're not rushing Brandon Aiyuk back on the field. After all, he has a huge payday in front of him with that contract. And if the Niners want to actually end up trading him at some point, as has been speculated numerous times over the past 18 months, you know, I think it would be in their best interest to let him get fully healthy so that when he does get back on the field, he can make an impact and, increase his stock, increase his trade value if the 49ers ultimately decide to go down that road. Rushing him back, potentially re-injuring him, the math ain't mathing with a week one return to me. I don't see it. I really, really don't. And let's continue with the rest of the article here. Let me pull up the second part of that article. And this is, again, courtesy of 49ers Web Zone. Still, Aiyuk believes the 49ers will take a conservative approach given the severity of Aiyuk's knee injury, making a delayed season debut more likely. Aiyuk said, they want to be extra cautious with him. Even though the timeline, everything being equal, might point toward, hey, there's a chance week one, and there still might be a chance week one. I think the feeling inside the organization has always been, don't take any chances. Start them off on PUP when they report to training camp on July 22nd, and then more than likely just have that carry over into the regular season. So in the same article, in the same breath, in the same interview from Matt Aiyuk, he says there's a chance he plays week one, but more than likely he's going to be placed on the PUP and miss the first 4 games, and the Niners want to play it safe. So is Matt Aiyuk actually telling you anything here? I don't really think he is. I think he's just filling airtime. I think he is also carrying the 49ers water. Everyone who follows the 49ers knows that Matt Aiyuk is basically the 49ers unofficial PR director who puts out everything that the Niners want him to. And no slight at Matt Aiyuk. That's his job. That's what he gets information that way. I don't begrudge him for that whatsoever. But how in one moment you say Aiyuk could play week one, and then in the same breath say, more than likely, though, the team wants him to recover fully, and they're going to end up placing him on the PUP list and blah, blah, blah. So I don't really think he said much of anything in that interview. I don't think we learned anything in that interview. And let me just pull up the final part of this article. Aiyuk said, and then it's quite possible that he could be ready week 5 or week 6, getting up to speed quickly, Aiyuk added. But everything I'm hearing is that things are looking good and that the progress is even ahead of where the markers were that the 49ers put on him when he had the surgery. So I guess what we learned is something we've been hearing all offseason, that Brandon Aiyuk is ahead of schedule. He's been doing great in his rehab. But again, I stress to you, when was the last time you didn't hear that about a player with a significant injury? I mean, you hear about these guys every year, no matter what team it is, no matter what injury it is. Oh, he's ahead of schedule in his rehab. The Niners aren't going to put anything bad out there right now. They're not going to tell Matt Aiyuk to come on the radio and say, yeah, Brandon Aiyuk, he's having some issues with that knee. It's not really responding. He's behind schedule. We thought he'd be ready at this point, but, it's going to be a little bit later than that. That doesn't happen. You don't hear that with any team. And, the Niners especially are notorious for these kinds of stories. I mean, look at last year with Christian McCaffrey when he started having his Achilles tendonitis issues in training camp. They didn't even really tell you what it was off the jump, and they just held him out of practice. They said, oh, he'll be fine. He'll be ready to go week 1. Nothing to see here. Nothing to worry about, right? Positive spin, no problem. But then come week 1, you find out an hour before kickoff on Monday Night Football that Christian McCaffrey has bilateral Achilles tendonitis and he will not be playing. And then before you know it, we didn't see him until week 10. So the Niners are notorious for withholding injury information and, quite frankly, telling you the truth with these things. So when I hear Matt Aiyuk talk about Brandon Aiyuk's ahead of schedule and he might play week 1. I'm not trusting a word coming out of the mouths of anybody down at 49 when it comes to injuries and the rehab process and whatnot. I'm going to just wait and see. When Brandon Aiyuk gets back on the field, then I'll know he's back on the field. I don't trust anything that the Niners put out there when it comes to injuries. And I also just don't, I don't think it's the smartest move to have Brandon Aiyuk out there week 1 when you could rest him for a little bit. Given the fact that the Niners have a very winnable schedule, you don't need to rush Brandon Aiyuk back. What is the reason for rushing Brandon Aiyuk back? There is no conceivable reason that makes any sort of logical sense to have Brandon Aiyuk rush back. And I mean, training camp starts here in a week and a half for the veterans. Brandon Ayuk's not going to be practicing then. So at what point would he start practicing during training camp if he's going to have a run up and be ready to go for week 1? I don't see it. I don't see it. And I think the most logical move, the best move that the Niners can do, if he is indeed ahead of schedule and expected to be back sooner rather than later, if that timeline really does exist, I think you put him on the PUP list, you have him sit out the first 4 games, and then you have him return for that Thursday night game, week 5, down in LA in a huge divisional matchup against the Los Angeles Rams. That's the target date. If you want to have Aiyuk back sooner than later, I think that is the ideal scenario because you can have Aiyuk play in that game. He's not going to get all the snaps. He's not going to get all the playing time. And then after that game, you have 10 days between that Thursday night and the next game to see how Aiyuk's knee responds, how it flares up the next day, how he's feeling, and you can make, a continued judgment call from there. I think that's the target date is week 5. I think that's the earliest that we will see Brandon Aiyuk in a 49ers uniform on the field catching passes for this team. That's just me. And I think to speculate anything else is a little crazy. He tore his ACL, MCL, and had other structural damage. Like, it's not just a clean standard ACL tear. He's not in the Stephon Diggs situation. His knee injury was pretty brutal. And to rush him back to be on the field week 1, and not to mention he had the injury last October. He was unable to get surgery until November due to the swelling. And then you want to rush him back and have him be ready for week 1. That's what, like 9-10 months? It's too soon. And you have way too much money invested in this player. Too much riding on him coming back at some point this year. I mean, you have a huge investment in him with that contract. You want to see him earn it. You want to see him be worth that money. And not only that, if you want to trade him, you need to have him be as healthy as he possibly can when he comes back so that he can, create some buzz. So I don't see week 1. If I'm a betting man, I'm putting money that Aiyuk's not out there week 1 when the Niners travel up to Seattle and I'm in the stands at Lumen Field because I'm going to be up there week 1 for that game. I don't expect to see Brandon Aiyuk on the field that day when I'm sitting there in Seattle watching the 49ers take on the Seahawks. I just don't. So let's see what you guys are saying here in the chat this evening. Let me scroll through. Let's see. Rob D in the chat. It's going to be a while before BA can make cuts in routes, even 75% of his baseline. He blew up his ACL. Doctor said it looked like a grenade went off. Exactly. That's what it's been equated to this whole offseason, that his knee just blew up on the inside. There's no way he's going to be out there week 1. I don't see it. And I don't understand the reasoning to put that out there other than you want to drum up positive vibes. You want to have positive momentum. You want to have the fans feeling good and optimistic about the season. So you're going to put out as much positive information about your players as you can heading into the year. That's how I view it. That's why I think you see stuff like that. Papa J says, I don't see Kyle missing the opportunity to have defenses have to plan for Brandon Aiyuk and use him as a distraction. I believe he will play very minimal play time week 1. I see what you're saying, Papa J, and I can't disagree with the logic. Like, I understand where you're coming from, but I don't see it, because that's the thing. If he's barely going to play, why are you having him take up a roster spot from a healthy player who is more ready to go and, more capable of an impact week 1? And not even just week 1, like early on in the season. Brandon Aiyuk is going to be taking up a roster spot. You're only going to carry probably 6 wide receivers, and you need them all to be healthy and ready to make an impact. Like, I don't see it. And I think the best course of action is to place him on the PUP list. He won't count against the 49ers roster. He'll miss the first 4 games, and then he'll be back in the beginning of October. I don't have a problem with that. It's much better than the timeline that we were hearing about Thanksgiving or December, So I just don't want to rush Brandon Aiyuk back. I really don't. And in addition to everything that I've stated, I think that getting Brandon Aiyuk back at a later point in the year, not week 1, at some point during the season later on, I think that's going to provide a jolt to this team. Like, he wasn't there early on in the season, but then he gets back and he gets rolling just as the 49ers are really making a strong playoff push. And the 49ers under Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch have made a ton of moves at strategic points in the year to help give them a little push, help give them a little boost, whether it was getting Chase Young, whether it was getting Emmanuel Sanders, trading for Christian McCaffrey. They've done things strategically that have helped this team immensely in terms of positive momentum as they head into the playoffs. And I think getting Brandon Aiyuk back, not week 1, maybe before the midpoint of the year, and let him round into form as the Niners are heading into late November and December for that playoff push, when Brandon Aiyuk should, by all accounts, be really ramping up and getting back into form. I think that's going to be a great thing for the 49ers. They're going to have a weapon that they otherwise didn't have early in the year that's going to be able to help them in a big way, as long as you let him get completely healthy. Don't rush him back out there. So we'll see. I don't see him out there week 1, and I think it would be malpractice if you did rush him back. I'm not a fan of it. Not a fan of that idea. Let's see what other comments we got. I see some Rams fans trolling in the chat. And they're you see a lot of Rams fans in 49ers chats because their team doesn't have a ton of content creators on YouTube, so they have to come and troll other fans' chats. I'm sorry that the Rams fans, your favorite show, is 49ers themed programming, but it is what it is, I guess. Rob D says ACL, MCL, PCL equals 3CL. I see what you did there. Filthy Casual says, nice. Do the 49ers usually win when you're in the stands? Yeah, they do. they tend to, I had season tickets at Candlestick from 2009 to 2013. So 2009, 2010, they didn't win so much, but 2011 through 2013, I was there under Harbaugh. And then, of course, 2019 to the current time, the Niners have gone to multiple NFC championship games and multiple Super Bowls. And I was there for both NFC championship wins at Levi Stadium. So yeah, they tend to win a lot when I'm in the stands, and I'll be there week 1, like I mentioned. So hopefully I'm the good luck charm. Hopefully that'll bring the Niners some good luck week 1. Papa J says, yeah, JD, you're making sense. I got you. Appreciate that, Papa J. Filthy Casual says, any chance he could be 100% in November, December? That's the idea. And that's why I don't want him rushed back week 1. I don't want any setbacks. I don't want any risk. They're saying he is ahead of schedule, and by all accounts, that means late September, early October. And I heard that a few weeks ago, and now you have Matt Maiocco coming out, stating the same thing, that he's ahead of schedule and that he's doing really well with his rehab. And so I think there's a very good chance if you get Brandon Aiyuk in the lineup week 5, week 6, week 7, that by November, December, he's really getting going. I think that's the idea. And I think it's going to pay off big time for the Niners. I do. Papa J says, yeah, it makes more sense to not have him take up a roster spot, especially with us trying to work out rookies. Exactly. You have Jordan Watkins, who's expected to make an impact and will be one of the rookies that I pay attention to the most during training camp coming up. You have Jacob Cowing, second-year wide receiver. You have Ricky Pearsall, who is going to be a starter and relied upon heavily on this team. You have guys that need to get snaps, and you can't afford to have Brandon Aiyuk taking up a roster spot early in the year when you could have another guy who is fully healthy and more capable, at least week 1, of going out there and contributing than a guy like Brandon Aiyuk going out there just to be a decoy. That doesn't make sense to me. If he's not all the way ready, if I want the 49ers to feel like they're not rushing him back. Now, whenever that is, I'll go with the Niners on it. But if he's out there week 1, I just feel like it's too soon. I do. And I feel like it's just roster malpractice to have him taking up a roster spot when you could have a healthy body out there who's actually capable of contributing and not just being a decoy. That's just me. Andrew Perez in the chat says, are you going to Seattle week 1? I am. I mentioned that a minute ago. I am going up to Seattle week 1. It'll be my first road game ever. I've been to Candlestick. I've been to Levi's. That's it. And this will be my first ever road game. And I always told myself that if, my first road game would have to be up there in Seattle against the team and the fan base that I cannot stand more than any other. So, yeah, I will be there week 1 with some buddies of mine. I can't wait. I'm excited. I'm so ready for football, guys. I don't know about you. Oh my God. Like every time I think about it, I just get a smile on my face, man. I just get a smile on my face. Fazil, CMC, Garendo, Kittle, Pearsall, Jennings, Watkins, Cowing. It should be enough, especially but something tells me how Kyle will open up his playbook more because Debo gone. We'll see. That's going to be definitely something to pay attention to is how does Kyle Shanahan run his offense without Debo? Because he really relied upon Debo Samuel heavily when it came to his game plans and the way his offense functioned out here. When Debo Samuel was out of the lineup, Kyle Shanahan seemed lost. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how the offense develops, how it progresses, how it evolves under Kyle Shanahan with these new weapons and with Brock Purdy another year in the system. I'm very eager to see that for sure. Fazil says, I might be out there with my wife and sister in Seattle for week 1. Fazil, if you're out there, let me know, dude. I'm going to be out there Friday, September 5th until Monday, September 9th. I'm flying back on Monday, but I'll be out there for 4 days. Can't wait, man. If you're out there, man, let me know. Absolutely let me know. I'll be out there. Can't wait. Fazil again. He says, the only road game I went to was the NFC Championship game down at Levi South in 2021-2022 NFC Championship game. Sad we lost, but the atmosphere with the red there was cool to see. Yep, absolutely. I mean, I'm sure that was a crazy game. I've heard good and bad things about that game, specifically from people I know that were there for that. But yeah, my first road game will be week 1 up in Seattle. So assuming everything goes according to plan, I'll be back on Monday, and I'm sure I'll be going live on Monday to give you guys my whole rundown and whatnot. So looking forward to it for sure. But let's go ahead and open up the faithful phone line. I'll put the StreamYard link in the chat, and it'll be your guys' chance to call in. And I want to hear your thoughts on whether or not you want the 49ers to have Brandon Aiyuk out there week 1, or if you think it's rushing him back. And also your thoughts on training camp. How do you feel about the way the Niners kind of run training camp? Are you someone who goes to 49ers camp and you're a little bit what's the word I'm looking for? If you're someone who goes to 49ers camp, how do you feel about the way that they're doing things this year? because I'm curious to see how other 49er fans feel. And also, if you're going to training camp this year, if you plan on going, let me know. That would be cool. And in addition, if you have any thoughts about training camp with the team, if you have any thoughts on anything, we can get into whatever you guys want tonight. But I just wanted to throw those thoughts out there this evening. Like I mentioned at the top of the program, starting this Monday, July 14th, I will be going live Monday through Friday every week at 4:30 p.m. right here on this channel. So make sure you have your subscriptions enabled. Make sure you're like and have your notifications on, all that good stuff, so you don't miss anything that we put out. And again, check out the Patreon for behind the scenes content. If you enjoy the content, if you enjoy the show and you want to help support the channel and support what we do, if you find value in these streams, check out the Patreon and sign up to become a member. Patreon.com/keepingthefaith is the link. All that information is down below in the ticker and the description box. But let me go ahead and I put the StreamYard link in the chat for anyone who wants to come through. And let me pin the chat, or pin the link in the chat, rather. Bear with me. Pinned. There we go. All right. We are pinned and ready to go. So I want to hear from you guys tonight. What do you think about the whole Brandon Aiyuk situation? Do you want to see the Niners rush him back and get out there week 1 in Seattle? Or do you think it would be better served to have Brandon Aiyuk be completely and fully healthy, ready to go at some point later on in the year? Because I think it would be a heck of a weapon for Kyle Shanahan to deploy later on in the season after we've already gotten a taste of what this team is doing this year. We'll see how Christian McCaffrey's looking, how Isaac Guerendo's looking, George Kittle, Ricky Pearsall, Juwan Jennings, the whole offense, right? If they're clicking and going, like that's great, right? And you add a healthy Brandon Aiyuk to that lineup because you let him sit that extra month and a half before you put him out there on the field. And then when he hits the field, he's able to hit the ground running and contribute right away and just add to your offense. I think that's the smartest way to go. I think rushing him out there week 1, taking up a roster spot from a guy who would be more suited to contribute week 1 than Brandon Aiyuk will perceivably be. I think, I don't like the idea of rushing back Brandon Aiyuk. I don't. I see Fazil. Fazil, I see you backstage, but there we go. There we go. Now you're connected. Now you're connected, my friend. Bear with me. Let me go ahead and bring you on. Fazil, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, JD. How you doing?
What's up, my friend? How you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. I was just at the gym, but I just wanted to hop in, bro. I'm doing good, blessed. Wife's good, family's good. I just wanted to check in with you. I know it's been a while. I join your live streams and stuff, but just try to like catch up with you, see. But I do watch your shows. Try to catch up even if I miss them. But sometimes I may be busy, but still watching your show and my AirPods and just doing chores and stuff. But overall, I'm doing good, man. I'm excited for the season. I love the draft class. I love what we did. It's fully revamped. But I'm trying to go to training camp. I possibly, like I told you, I think in the chat earlier, that I may be going to Seattle and trying to go to home games here. But with the whole Aiyuk situation, I agree with you. Don't rush him back. They said they heard, like you said, a grenade pop off when he injured his ACL and PCL or MCL, wherever it was. It was like he needs the most rest as he can. Let him come back healthy in his full shape and ready to go with football speed, because I think we have enough weapons to hold the fort until he comes back, especially with the schedule we have and Robert Saleh back to hold the fort with the defense. There may be some little glimpses, hiccups with the defense because there's rookies, but we still have our core guys to compete. And I think, with CMC being fully healthy, Guerendo fully healthy again, Kittle still being an all-pro, I think they're going to be fine. The main thing people were talking about, especially, was like, Kyle, whenever things were going around wrong, Debo would be the guy he would turn to make that spark or that big play, especially in big games, playoff games, like you saw. But now that he's gone, I think like he's going to like involve everyone now, so like he'll be more prepared going into games with Kittle, Pearsall, Jennings, and everyone else that he'll involve, Guerrero, CMC, and like Cowing. I think you're going to see more of these guys more involved and get the ball. So that's what I'm seeing moving forward with this whole Aiyuk situation, JD. Sorry for speaking too long.
Oh, you're good. You made a great point. This team has more than enough weapons on offense to make up for the absence of Brandon Aiyuk and allow Brandon Aiyuk the time to fully heal and be ready to go. I mean, you know that Juwan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall are going to be the week one starters at wide receiver. The wide receiver 3 battle between Jordan Watkins, Jacob Cowing, to me, that's one of my favorite things that I'm going to be paying attention to at training camp. I am so hyped up to pay attention to that specific training camp battle because both of those guys are going to want to get on the field, and both of those guys need to get on the field to show what they have. I mean, of course, Jacob Cowing in his second year, he has to show something this year if he wants to make something of himself. And Jordan Watkins, by all accounts, has looked electric during the offseason program. And so I want to see what those guys have. And rushing Brandon Aiyuk back just to be a decoy week one doesn't make a lot of sense to me. When you have guys on this team who are hungry and who are fast and have the ability to stretch the field, I would rather see them early in the year and allow Brandon Aiyuk that time to get fully healthy, because then when you bring Brandon Aiyuk back later in the year, you have given guys like Jacob Cowing and Jordan Watkins the opportunity to get some experience and get their feet wet. And that makes the entire wide receiver room as a whole that much better when Brandon Aiyuk comes back.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. You knocked it on the nail, JD, with like letting them get their reps, especially with guys like Cowing, Watkins, and all them. Watkins was killing it in the mini camp, the OTAs. So like, Kittle was talking about him like he's for surely going to make the team. You know how he was talking about on Bussing with the boys. Brock Purdy just went on too. Kittle was saying like, yeah, he can run the whole route tree. Like he was so quick off of his like 9-yard split or something that he was talking about. And I was like, okay, this is like a person like Kyle was looking for. He may turn him into like, I feel like the Debo replacement. But like you said, let Aiyuk rest. I feel like let him get healthy, let him do it. This is not a brutal schedule. You have a whole revamped team. You have a whole new coaching staff besides the head coach and some other position players with Bobby Turner and Johnny Holland and all them. They can rest it. They can chill it. I feel like they can go maybe be 5-1, 5-2, or like 6-2 by the time he comes back or something like that, or even 5-3. Wouldn't be upset, because a lot of people are not expecting them to be like Super Bowl contending, but playoff for sure and somewhat contending around that Super Bowl. I know Levi's is at our hometown this year, and we want to go. I do want to go. I think the main thing is they're gonna have to stay healthy, and the draft picks are gonna have to hit. And I feel like Purdy's got to get back to that level, and Kyle's got to get back to that level. They're over that Super Bowl hangover. You know what this also reminds me of, JD, is I know one more thing, quick more thing. I know you probably will have more callers in. It's kind of reminding me, I don't want to get too ahead of myself or get too cocky or stuff or arrogant. It's that Philadelphia, what happened to them after that Super Bowl hangover. And then they came back, this Philadelphia team, meaning the 2024-2025 Eagles. They revamped some stuff. They added Saquon Barkley, and then the Niners just shut the door on them in 2023. We saw what we did when we went into Philly, and that Debo had that type of game. So I think like the Niners, like completely, and what the Eagles were struggling with was the OC with Sean and the DC with Sean Desai, and then I forgot Brian Johnson was their OC. They replaced him with Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio, and that was the ultimate. I feel like the difference for the Eagles winning that Super Bowl. And Jalen Hurts was there. They had a plethora of guys on that D line. They did lose some guys. And then they added, obviously, Saquon Barkley, who just completely turned it up from leaving the Giants to the Eagles, as expected with the O-line the Eagles have. I kind of see some similarities from what the Niners did. Revamping that D-line.
Yeah, I
Drafting
get
it.
you. I get what you're saying. The Eagles definitely had some rookies playing on that defense this year at defensive back with Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell. They brought in that veteran defensive coordinator, that voice in the room, in Vic Fangio. The Niners are going to have some similarities with Robert Saleh back in the fold. They've revamped this defensive line. They have some rookies who are going to be playing huge roles this year. I see where you're going with that. Absolutely.
Thanks, JD. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. But that's exactly what I see. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. We obviously first have to see them play and get on the field first. And we'll probably get a good feel after the first 4 or 5 games to see what type of team they were. Like, we didn't know. Philly started like 2-2, and they were blown out by Tampa, and everyone's like, oh, yeah, they're going to fire Sirianni at the end of the year and stuff like that. Like, he's getting too ahead of himself, and look at him. He just ended up with the Super Bowl, and they broke down the Chiefs in that Super Bowl. So I do kind of see it. I'm hoping. I don't want to get too optimistic. I want to be realistic as a fan, like how you are, and open and optimistic. Just the fandom we are and the love we have for the team, the Niners. We've grown up and loving. So I'm excited, JD. Like, I don't know, but it's just much more peace than these last offseason, other than, some little hiccups here and there. But this offseason has been way better than the last several years, for sure.
We're a week out from training camp, and we're actually talking about football. We're not talking about contracts. We're not talking about holdouts. We're not talking about injuries necessarily. I mean, with Aiyuk, sure, but we're talking about football, and that's the beautiful part about this offseason. I love it.
Same thing, JD. Absolutely. We could just talk about football and game planning, getting ready for the season, and just get in shape. That's all they got to worry about right now. And Aiyuk come back healthy, no drama. We're good to go, man. Thanks, JD. I really appreciate you having me on.
All right, Fazil. Thanks for tuning in, man. Shout out Fazil for calling in tonight. Good to hear from him. Been a while. If anyone else wants to call in, now is your shot. The StreamYard link is pinned in the chat. If you want to call in and give your thoughts on whether or not the 49ers should bring Brandon Aiyuk back week 1 if he's ready, or if you think it's in the best interest of the team to let him rest a little bit longer. Place him on the PUP list, have him miss the first 4 games, and come back at some point after that so that he's fully healthy, ready to go, and able to hit the ground running and help this team. Or do you want to see him out there week 1 against the Seahawks? I'm curious to see how you guys feel. And also, let me know if you guys are going to be going down to training camp at Levi Stadium this year. We talked about it at the beginning of the show. The Niners released their training camp dates. I gave you my thoughts on the way they're handling that kind of stuff this year, and some frustrations that I had. But overall, I love going to camp, and I'll try my best to get down there this year. But with the way the Niners are running things, that remains to be seen, but we'll see. But if you're going down to training camp this year, definitely let me know. If I'm going to be there, I'll let you guys know. And I'm always down to say hi to any of the viewers, man. So with that though, there we go. We got another caller. Let's go. And we'll have Papa J join the program tonight. What's up, Papa J? How you doing, man?
Oh, did I just cut you out? Oh, okay.
Nope.
I can hear you now.
We're good. I hear we're good. I hear you. You hear me. What's on your mind, my friend?
Hey, brother. No, you kind of changed it. You did change my mind about BA. You saw me talking or on the chat on Larry's show earlier today, and I was, messing around with him, but in a way, I was kind of being serious about it. Now, hear me out, okay? If he does come back 1 month later, what are they saying? October or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
If he does, how football ready is he? How football fit is he going to be? Is he going to be in football shape by then? Because it's been a long time since he hit the field. And when he did hit the field, let's remember he had that contract dispute that he didn't go through training camp. And so he really hasn't had the experience on the football field in the last, 2 years, right? Per se. So if we prolong it even more, is he really going to be in football shape by then? Is he going to be effective? And if he's not effective, well, then that means that we can really trade him anyways, because nobody's going to want him.
Well, my response to that is my response to that is there's no substitute for playing football. He will not get in football shape until he's out there playing football, whether that is week 1 or week 18. He has to be out there and playing in some games over the course of several weeks to really get into football shape. But I feel like the more of a time that you give him to really be fully healthy, I think that's also beneficial. I don't want to rush him back out there and get him re-injured while he's also trying to get into football shape. I would give him a little bit more time to make sure that he's as right as he can be. And then when he gets back on the field, yeah, it's going to take some time. But the idea is that once the team is heading into that playoff push, Aiyuk will be rounding into form and helping this team in November and December.
Now, JD, let me ask you this, because I'm still learning this, being an IR and we're being PUP. If you're on PUP, can you still practice? Can you still go out there with pads? Can they just
No? What'll happen if he's on the pup list? If he's on the pup list, what you'll hear is that he'll be on like a side field doing individual work on his own, but he will not be involved in the main team practices. No, not when he's on the pup list.
Yeah, see that worries me. I'd rather have BA week 1, maybe for a couple of plays, 2 or 3. So by the time add on each week, just a little bit and a little bit. I'd rather have him hit running instead of just putting him and throwing him out into the dogs after you're not really performing and being able to do that. I'd rather have him just put a little toe in that pool, just dip a little bit, because that's going to benefit us. Because look what happened with Huff. Look what happened with CMC, especially CMC. They threw him out there and they started him really hard, which I disagree with. And I'm sorry, I thought somebody was calling me downstairs. My bad. And it affected him because I know it wasn't the same with CMC. It wasn't the same injury that happened when he came back. It's not from what he had in surgery, but I really truly believe that because he wasn't in football shape and he didn't step in just a little bit, that really affected him.
I get what you're saying, Papa J. But my whole thing is this: I don't want Brandon Aiyuk on the field week 1 for 2 or 3 plays, 2 or 3 snaps just to get his feet wet. He's been in the league a long time. He doesn't need 2 or 3 snaps to get his feet wet. I want him to be fully healthy so that when he does come back, he'll be able to have, to play 25, 30 snaps in a game, and work his way back that way. Instead of having Brandon Aiyuk on the field for 2 or 3 snaps week 1, working him back into things, I would rather have Jacob Cowing or Jordan Watkins out there on the field. Guys who are young, explosive, and more ready to make a big play week 1 than what Brandon Aiyuk will do. I don't want to take.
See, now that's where I agree with you. That's exactly where I agree with you. Yeah. You're absolutely right on that. And that's where you changed my mind right there, because when you said that, I was like, yeah, we do need to bring in other people. But in the long run of the value of Brandon, I think it's an injustice for our team and for him not being able to, if he's able to. Now I'm saying I'm not. If he's 100% able to do it week 1, why not? If he's 100% able. Now, if he's at 80%, no, don't take that risk. But why not? If he's 100% able to do it, why not start him then? At least
right. And I don't disagree with that. Absolutely. I mean, if he's ready to go, he's ready to go. I just don't think he's going to be at that point come week 1. And if he's not there, he has no business taking up a roster spot over a healthy player.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that. But if he is 100%, why not, right?
Well, yeah, if he's 100%, he better be out there. That's how he's making.
We're paying that money for it.
He better be. Yeah, he better be out there. Well, hey, Papa J, man, I appreciate the call, my friend. Thank you for calling in. Don't be a stranger, and I appreciate you, talking in the chat and all that stuff.
Thanks, JD. You take care, brother.
All right, man. Have a good night. Shout out Papa J for calling into the program here on this faithful Friday. We are just days away from the San Francisco 49ers welcoming their rookie class down in Santa Clara for the start of 49ers training camp, with the veterans reporting 1 week later on July 22nd. I'm ecstatic. I can't wait. So tonight we've been hitting on the latest with Brandon Aiyuk and the possibility that he'll be ready to go week 1, although I don't think it's probable. I also hit on the 49ers releasing the dates of their public practices where fans can attend. And I also made a big announcement at the top of the show that beginning this Monday, July 14th, the live streams, the times are going to be changing. I will have a consistent live stream schedule beginning this Monday, July 14th, when I will be going live Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. Now, if you can't make the live show, you can always catch the replay as soon as as soon as the show's over. But I've been wanting to do more consistent streams, and that is a time where I'll be able to do it more consistently. And that's the biggest thing that I'm going to be working on, as we move forward, is just, putting out the consistent content. So Monday through Friday, every day, or every Monday through Friday throughout the season, beginning this Monday, July 14th, I will be live at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time right here on this channel, talking all things Niners. And then we'll have some weekend shows, of course, throughout the year that'll be sprinkled in. And I may even dabble in a morning show once the regular season gets going. I've always wanted to do a morning show, and I want to see how you guys, how the viewers receive that. If we get a lot of participation, if we get a lot of viewers in the mornings, that may be something that I do more consistently long-term as well. So we will see about that. But right here, right now, I will be going live Monday through Friday, beginning this Monday, July 14th at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time. And then we'll go from there. Football is here. It's back, and I'm ready to go. I know you guys are. I'm absolutely ready to go. Let's see. If we have anybody in the chat. I see Keys in the chat. What's up, Keys? I see Half Dead. Appreciate you guys for tuning in, man. Rob D saying he fell asleep. Did Papa J call in yet? Papa J did call in. If you fell asleep because of me, my bad. But feel free to call in and give your thoughts for sure. I see Sin in the chat. What's up, Sin? Thank you for tuning in. We've been live for about an hour and 15 minutes. And so I do have the phones open. The link is pinned in the chat. If you guys want to call in and give me your thoughts on whether or not you want to see Brandon Aiyuk out there week 1, or if you think it would be in his best interest and the team's best interest to put him on the physically unable to perform list, have him sit out at least the first 4 games and get right before the team puts him out there on the field. Also, if you're going to training camp, I would love to hear from you. It would be cool to link up at training camp with anybody who watches this show. And if you have any thoughts on training camp itself, position battles, guys you want to see develop, who you think is going to make a big impact in training camp, what do you see when it comes to the 49ers and training camp coming up? I would love to hear from you guys. The link is pinned in the chat, and that's what we do this for here on a Friday. It is a faithful Friday, and we're just shooting the breeze, man. It's the calm before the storm. Training camp is basically here, and so I can't wait to just break it all down with every practice and every little bit of news that comes out of Santa Clara. I've needed football in the worst way, let me tell you, and I'm so glad it's back. And it's just, it can't get here soon enough. I'll tell you that. It can't get here soon enough. Fazil says he can't wait for training camp. Rob D says off-season drivel. Discuss. Well, Rob, if it's drivel, man, you don't have to watch, but we're having fun. We're having fun over here on Keeping the Faith. Keys in the chat. Collins better show up for training camp. He's healthy, or he better show up for training camp healthy and hungry. You're absolutely right. He better show up healthy. He's been dealing with a foot injury all throughout the entire offseason program, and he was a second-round pick. Like, he needs to be ready to go and hit the ground running when the rookies report on Tuesday. Really, I need to see how good Alfred Collins reports immediately next week. I want to see how healthy is Alfred Collins? What kind of football shape is he in? How is his cardio? Like, is he going to be ready to go? Because he hasn't really done very much this offseason, and he's going to be a guy who's going to be relied upon on this defensive line this year. And so his development, his impact on this team is going to be one of the most talked about, storylines of training camp, in my opinion. I definitely want to see Alfred Collins and what he can bring to this team early on in training camp. But Filthy Casual says Collins will be magically healthy as soon as he gets guaranteed money in his contract. You know what? That's a good point, because he still has not signed his rookie contract along with the vast majority of the second round picks. You know what? You're not wrong. You're not wrong. As soon as he puts pen to paper and that deal is signed, magically Alfred Collins will be fully healthy and ready to go. You're not wrong. That's a very valid point. You're spot on. You're spot on. But, well, we've been live for nearly an hour and a half. And if you guys aren't going to call in, I think we'll go ahead and wrap it, man. I think we'll wrap it. But just so you guys remember, starting this Monday, July 14th, I will be live Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. discussing the latest and greatest with your San Francisco 49ers right here on this channel throughout the entire season, beginning this Monday, 4:30 p.m. Be there. So with that, I will catch you guys next week. Maybe I'll go live again this weekend. We'll see if anything develops. But other than that, I will catch you guys this coming Monday right here, same channel, but it's not the same time. It'll be 4:30 p.m. Pacific time this Monday, July 14th. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Have a great rest of your Friday evening. And training camp's here, guys. The wait is over. Football is back. And I, for one, couldn't be more excited. So I will catch you guys on Monday. Everyone have a great weekend.